So for like the last couple of years, our relationship with technology has basically been like dealing with I don't know, a really smart but incredibly passive intern.
Right, yeah. You have to tell them exactly what to do.
Exactly. You walk right up to them, give them incredibly specific instructions, and then you just kind of wait for them to hand you the result. It's that classic prompt and respond dynamic. You type, it answers.
Which works, but it's very manual.
Yeah, but based on this massive pile of sources we're sifting through today, specifically this really dense, comprehensive transcript from an AI news update by Matt Wolf, that entire dynamic is, well, it's quietly being
Oh,
demolished.
completely. The ground is shifting.
Yeah. We are officially moving away from AI as this chatty assistant you have to command and moving toward a proactive, background agent that just runs your life. And it's even leaking out of our computers and into the actual physical grocery carts we push around.
I mean, the grocery cart thing is wild, but we'll get to that.
We definitely will. So to keep you from getting totally overloaded by all the tech noise this week, we're distilling just the vital takeaways you actually need to know. Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the biggest conceptual shift revealed this week, which actually happened completely by accident.
Yeah, through a leak. And a pretty significant one from Anthropic, the company behind the Claude models.
Right.
They usually keep their proprietary architecture locked down incredibly tight.
But not this time.
Yeah.
So an ex-user named Fried Rice discovered that Anthropic's Claude code had basically been leaked onto the internet via a map file in their NPM registry.
Right, the NPM registry.
Yeah, and for those who, don't spend all day in software deployments, developers usually compress and scramble their code before publishing it so it's unreadable.
Mm-hmm.
And a map file is essentially like the decoder ring that translates that scrambled code back into human-readable logic. Anthropic just accidentally left the decoder ring sitting on a public server. Yeah, big oops. It spread across GitHub like wildfire. Anthropic immediately started issuing DMCA takedowns, though their head of Claude Code, Boris Cherny, came out and said this wasn't some grand cyber heist.
Right, it was just a simple mistake.
Yeah, manual deploy developer error. He said no customer data was leaked, and supposedly nobody was even fired over it.
Well, the crisis management was surprisingly calm. I'll give them that.
Hmm.
But the real story isn't the leak itself. It's the blueprint for the future that was contained inside that exposed logic.
Memory thing.
Right, exactly. The code revealed this self-healing memory architecture. Because traditionally, when you use an AI agent, it has to load your entire conversation history into its context window over and over again.
Which is super inefficient.
Highly inefficient. It eats up massive amounts of memory and processing power.
Yeah.
But Anthropic's leaked code shows a totally different approach. It uses something like grep, basically rejects pattern searches.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it creates a lightweight index of pointers.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of memorizing every word you've ever typed, it just stores the location of information in a local memory file. When it needs context, it searches for specific text patterns to pull only the relevant pieces natively.
Wow. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Buried in this leaked self-healing code was something called Kairos. And Kairos is described as an autonomous daemon mode.
Daemon mode. Sounds intimidating.
I know, right? Now, daemon in computing just means a process that runs constantly in the background. But Kairos runs 204/7.
Yeah.
Every few seconds, it gets this heartbeat prompt.
Mm-hmm.
And that prompt basically asks the system, hey, is there anything worth doing right now?
And that heartbeat, that is the crucial mechanism here. The system is no longer waiting for user input. It's constantly evaluating its environment.
Just watching everything.
Exactly. Looking at your files, your servers, your schedules, trying to identify friction points that it can resolve before you even notice them.
And it apparently has 3 exclusive tools that regular Claude doesn't have. It can send push notifications directly to your phone or desktop.
Which is huge for autonomy.
Right. It has file delivery, so it can just create code or documents and push them to your local machine without being asked. And it has GitHub pull request subscriptions.
So it can watch your code repositories.
Yeah, and react to changes completely on its own. The real-world examples given in the source are just wild. Like, imagine you're asleep and your e-commerce website goes down.
A nightmare for any developer.
Totally. But Kairos detects the outage, analyzes the server logs, restarts the server, and then just leaves a little notification on your phone. Or say your Stripe payment page has a typo. It spots it, writes the fix, and logs the change. all while you are literally dreaming.
It's incredible.
But wait, hold on, let me push back on this. A daemon mode that runs Tomb 47, if it has write access to my GitHub and my live servers, what's stopping it from accidentally nuking my entire website while it's just trying to fix a minor typo?
Oh, absolutely. That's the big fear.
I mean, I just don't see how anyone trusts that level of autonomy yet.
Well, the leap from assist me to act on my behalf requires an almost unprecedented level of trust. Because if the AI is going to act autonomously, the underlying logic has to be flawless.
Because it can break things fast.
Exactly. The speed at which an AI can fix a problem is the exact same speed at which it can multiply a mistake across your entire infrastructure. But what's fascinating here is that despite those risks, this completely redefines the human-computer interaction model.
How so?
We are entering the post-prompting era. For decades, computing required human initiation. Now, large language models are transitioning from being a conversational interface you interact with to invisible plumbing.
Invisible plumbing, I like that.
They are becoming the infrastructure that just quietly manages the flow of your digital life.
Okay, so if Anthropic is building the invisible plumbing to run our lives in the background, OpenAI, which is, their biggest rival, is aggressively reshaping their entire corporate strategy to make sure they own the house that plumbing is installed in.
They want the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. They're moving massive amounts of money to build this unified ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, they just raised $122 billion
Yeah.
at an $852 billion valuation.
That number is just staggering.
It's the largest raise by any company in history. They're generating $2 billion a month in revenue right now.
Wow.
Yeah, they're growing faster than Alphabet or Meta did at this stage. And despite all those rumors of a falling out, Microsoft is still pumping money into them.
And buried inside this massive financial announcement was a major strategic pivot. OpenAI is building a unified super app. They want to combine ChatGPT, Codex for software engineering, web browsing capabilities, and these new proactive agentic behaviors all into one single interface.
Right, because intelligence isn't the bottleneck anymore.
Exactly. Their reasoning is that as these models get smarter across the board, the limiting factor stops being raw intelligence and starts being usability. But to achieve this laser focus on the super app, they are killing off major projects.
Like Sora.
Yeah, they completely shut down Sora, their highly publicized video generation model. The source notes it was bleeding roughly $1 million a day. That's over $1/3 billion a year, just gone.
Well, video generation is computationally brutal. I mean, text processing relies on next token prediction, which is relatively lightweight.
Right.
But video requires generating and maintaining spatial and temporal consistency across millions of pixels, frame by frame, in high definition.
It's a totally different beast.
It is. When you're trying to build a ubiquitous background super app that runs cheaply for hundreds of millions of users, burning $1 million a day on a standalone video tool just becomes an unsustainable distraction.
Okay, they specifically stated they wanted to avoid side quests to focus on their core competencies, which makes sense until you look at their newest acquisition.
Oh, TBPN.
Yeah. OpenAI just bought TBPN, the Tech Business Production Network. It's a daily 3-hour live show that interviews founders and streams on X and YouTube.
It's quite the pivot.
I mean, this is like a software company buying a cable news channel. How does buying a 3-hour daily live podcast fit into focusing on their core? If Sora was a side quest they had to kill, how is a daily talk show part of a unified super app strategy?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it actually reveals a lot about the current state of the tech industry. OpenAI isn't just competing on algorithms anymore.
What are they competing on?
They're competing on narrative. The super app is designed to lock you into a single ecosystem, just like Anthropic once with Claude.
Okay.
When the frontier models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google all start to look and perform similarly, usability and controlling the conversation become your primary weapons.
Oh, I see.
So buying TVCN gives them a direct 3-hour daily pipeline to shape the industry narrative, reach developers natively, and control the flow of information. It really is an ecosystem core competency now.
That actually makes a lot of sense. But while the giants are trying to lock us into these massive, unified, corporate-owned super apps, there's this global rebellion of open source models proving you might not need these giant companies at all.
The open source space is moving incredibly fast right now.
It's like the difference between taking an Uber everywhere, where you rely entirely on their corporate fleet and their rules, versus someone handing you the blueprints and a 3D printer so you can build your own autonomous car right in your garage.
That's a great way to put it. The open source insurgency is moving at a staggering speed, like Google just dropped Gemma 4.
Right, and that's open weight.
Exactly. It's an
Huh.
open-weight Apache 2.0 model. And open-weight means the actual neural network architecture and the trained parameters are available for anyone to download.
So you don't need their servers.
Nope. You aren't pinging a cloud server at all. It is specifically designed to run locally, relying on the processing power of your own Android phone or laptop GPU.
And then Alibaba dropped two massive models. First was Qwen 3.5 Omni, which handles text, image, audio, and video natively.
And its audio is incredible.
Yeah, the source said it actually beats Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro in audio benchmarks. But Qwen 3.5 introduced this mechanism called audiovisual vibe coding.
Vibe coding.
Yeah, you literally just describe your vision out loud to your computer's camera, you talk and wave your hands to show where you want things, and the model instantly builds a functional website or game based on your physical vibe.
The mechanism behind vibe coding is really cool, actually. It relies on multimodal fusion.
How does that work?
So the model isn't just transcribing your speech and then trying to write code from the text. It's actively mapping the spatial coordinates from your camera feed.
So it actually sees what my hands are doing.
Exactly, like tracking your hand drawing a box in the air and correlating that spatial data with your audio intent in real time. It fuses the visual and the audio to generate front-end logic like CSS and JavaScript almost
Well, it's
instantaneously.
mind-blowing. But Alibaba didn't even stop there. Days later, they dropped Qwen 3.6 Plus. And this model has a 1 million token context window designed specifically to run real-world agents.
A million tokens running locally.
Yeah, and it beats Anthropic's Opus 4.5 on several software engineering benchmarks.
And you have to understand, a 1 million token context window completely changes how an autonomous agent functions.
Because it remembers so much more.
Exactly. It means the agent doesn't just read a single prompt and react. It can hold an entire company's code base, all the technical documentation, and like the last year of your personal Slack messages in its working memory simultaneously.
Oh.
It makes decisions with full enterprise-level context without losing the thread of the architecture.
And it's not just the big international players doing this. A new American company called RC released Trinity Large Thinking, also open source, and apparently insanely fast.
Yeah, the demos were impressive.
The source material showed it digesting complex requirements and instantly building a monthly budget app and then generating a Wolfenstein 3D-style maze screensaver in like seconds.
Just incredibly fast iteration.
We also saw Google update their VO 3.1 video model. While OpenAI is shutting down Sora because it costs $1 million a day, Google released a light version of VO 3.1 that costs just 5 cents to generate a 720p video.
The cost of creation is just plummeting towards zero.
It really is. But here is my dilemma. Google just announced a new feature called AI Inbox, which has smart prioritization and personalized briefings, but it's locked behind their Google AI Ultra subscription, which costs $250 a month. So if I can do vibe coding locally and have a local Gemma model run my autonomous agents for free on my own laptop, why on earth would anyone keep paying $250 a month for a smart inbox?
Well, this raises an important question about privacy and the fundamental nature of those daemon mode agents we discussed earlier.
Okay, tell me more.
Think about your own laptop right now. Would you let a corporate OpenAI or Google model scan your personal tax folders, your private text messages, and your bank statements to organize your life?
Definitely not. No way.
Right. Giving a closed-source cloud model access to every file on your computer is a massive security hurdle. But if a highly capable model, like Gemma 4 or Qwen, is open source and running entirely locally on your own laptop's GPU, completely disconnected from the internet,
Oh, I see.
suddenly giving an AI the keys to your digital life becomes highly practical. You get the benefit of a proactive personal assistant without sending your W-2s and private photos to a corporate cloud server.
That makes total sense. So the Frontier Labs are trying to sell you this highly polished, unified service, but open source is offering you raw private autonomy.
Precisely.
And because these models are getting smaller, cheaper, and capable of running locally without massive server farms, they are no longer trapped behind a computer screen. They are escaping the terminal and bleeding right into our physical, everyday reality.
And that physical integration of AI is really the final frontier. It's where digital logic directly interacts with messy, unpredictable physical movements.
And the sensors are getting flawless at handling that messiness. Microsoft just released the MAI Transcribe 1 model. It's a speech recognition model covering 25 languages, and it flawlessly passed a homonym test in a highly noisy physical environment.
The homonym test is notoriously difficult.
Yeah, it perfectly understood the context between the words see, like S-E-E, and see, S-E-A, or eight, the number, and eight, like eating food. It's picking up on absolute nuance even when background noise is actively trying to confuse it.
That's huge for real-world applications.
Meanwhile, over in the corporate world, Salesforce announced 30 new capabilities for Slackbot. It's no longer just a chatbot you query.
Right, they're calling it an ultimate teammate.
Yeah, it can jump into your physical Zoom meetings, record the audio, cross-reference the conversation with deep web research, and automatically update customer deals natively in your CRM software.
Notice the pattern here, though. The technology is removing human friction from the physical world.
How do you mean?
It's translating unstructured physical inputs,
Hmm.
like a noisy room or a chaotic, unstructured Zoom meeting, into structured digital data instantly. And we see the exact same translation happening in manufacturing.
Oh, like with General Motors.
Yes, exactly. General Motors is using AI to take rough, hand-drawn pencil sketches of cars and instantly turn them into concept videos driving in real-world environments.
That's so cool.
The AI simulates the aerodynamics of the pencil sketch to compress their design timelines. It basically takes human physical intuition and instantly wraps it in digital physics.
Okay, we've been talking about these agents living in our laptops and enterprise software, but the true end game of this physical bleed is happening at the grocery store.
Yes, the smart carts.
Instacart just introduced physical AI smart carts. These things are powered by local NVIDIA Jetson chips. They have touch screens, inward-facing cameras looking at the items in your basket, outward-facing cameras looking at the shelves you are walking past.
And location sensors, right?
Yep, location sensors to know exactly where you are in the store layout, plus certified scales to weigh your produce. They process all of this in-aisle data locally, in real time, to influence your shopping before you even reach the checkout line.
It's a marketer's dream.
It really is. If the inward camera sees you put dry pasta in the cart and the location sensor knows you are approaching the dairy aisle, the screen instantly suggests a specific brand of Parmesan cheese right as you walk past it.
Just incredibly targeted.
I mean, this feels like real-life pop-up ads chasing you down the cereal aisle. Think about your own weekly grocery trip. Do you actually want your shopping cart analyzing your physical location to upsell you?
Well, if we tie this grocery cart back to the post-prompting era we talked about with Anthropic's Kairos, the underlying philosophy is exactly the same.
Anticipation, right?
Exactly. The goal of these models is to anticipate your needs without being asked. The smart cart is the ultimate data loop applied to physical reality.
Because they've always done this online.
Right. For years, companies have tracked our every click and scroll online to serve us targeted ads. Now, they are applying that exact same digital tracking loop to physical space in real time.
Which is why the chips have to be on the cart.
Yes, the NVIDIA chips process the video locally because sending live 4K video feeds of grocery aisles to a cloud server would be way too slow to trigger an ad before you walk past the cheese.
It would miss the moment entirely.
Right, it has to happen on the cart. It's not just about upselling, though. It's about predicting your behavior so seamlessly that the friction of making a choice disappears entirely.
So what does this all mean? We have covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We started with the accidental discovery of a background daemon mode using pointer-based memory to fix your code while you sleep. We saw OpenAI pivot into a billion-dollar super app ecosystem, killing off multi-million-dollar video models just to focus on usability and ecosystem narrative. We explored how the open source insurgency is giving anyone with a laptop the power to process million-token context windows locally and vibe code full applications. And finally, we tracked how this intelligence is bleeding out into our physical reality, translating messy real-world inputs into structured data, right down to smart grocery carts mapping our every move in the store.
The through line here is undeniable. The technology you interact with is rapidly transitioning from a reactive tool that waits for your instructions to an invisible, proactive participant in your daily routines and physical environments.
It's everywhere.
It really is. It's no longer about what the AI can do. It's about what the AI is doing right now without you even realizing it.
And that leaves us with one final, very real dilemma. Think about your own schedule. If we are entering an era where our digital Kairos handles our emails and server outages at 2 a.m. and our physical smart carts handle our meal planning and budgeting right there in the grocery aisle, what exactly happens to the concept of our free time?
It's the ultimate paradox of automation, isn't it? As these proactive agents strip away the friction of our daily chores, do we actually get that time back to relax, to disconnect, to just be human?
That's the hope.
Or does this proactive AI simply optimize us to the point where we fill that newly created space with even more tasks, turning our lives into one perfectly efficient, never-ending feedback loop? It's definitely something to think about the next time your grocery cart suggests a snack.
I'll leave you to ponder the reality of your new proactive digital world.